It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your feel-good breakfast show. It's Expresso right here on SABC3. Now, stories detailing the experience of transgender people are becoming more and more visible in South Africa and landscapes with regards to that, as well as teaching everyone about acceptance and diversity as we strive for equality in our country. Now, the Expresso team's hearts were warmed after hearing the brave story of Lara Kruger, whose story resonates strongly today on Women's Day.
My name is Lara. I am 30 years old and I'm a radio DJ who's transgender. I identify as a woman from the social level. I live my life like a woman on the day-to-day, but in terms of my ID and driver's license and Lucy and all those documentations of life, unfortunately, they do still say male because the process in our country is not as easy as one may think it is. Transgender, it's either you're a cross-dresser or you're a transvestite. You know, and that's where that T fills in the LGBTI story. So I'm basically whatever, cross-dresser, transvestite. The true fact of it is that I feel and live my life like a woman. I knew from a very young age that, you know, I was very different because usually when my mom would go get me stuff to wear, I would obviously get to wear boys' clothes, and, you know, it was weird for me. My mom was also one of those people like that thought to themselves, this child is probably playing games. I remember I did write her a letter somewhere when I was like in primary school, and I'm like, honey, you better know that I like boys. You know, I do not like girls. You know, I like boys. I want to have a boyfriend. And for her, that was enough clarity. Thank God I wasn't exposed to cutting your wrists or that type of self-torture. But, you know, you get depressed in the fact that why did I have to be this? Something that people don't like. Those punishments that I had to sit in are those ones of saying, am I worthy? Am I good enough? You know, I carry this flag with pride, but when I feel like there's a little bit of resistance and there's a little bit of doubt in terms of who I am and where I want to go, then I really don't want to it gets to me that you're against who I am. You are worried that I'm so comfortable in my own space. You know, I've had the time to punish myself, to throw insults at myself, to curse myself. You know, I don't want anybody to do it anymore. I am okay. This is me. This is Lara. And it's either you take her or you don't. I hope firstly, I will never fill a document in my life that ever says female, male, and other. You know, I am not a dog. If you really want to embrace us, how about you write LGBTI? It's the same characters. It's got, what, 4 letters? The day when I woke up and I said, nobody is going to put me down. Nobody is going to question who and what I am. Nobody's not going to tell me that I'm not worthy. You know, it was one of those days where they remained victorious. I felt so blessed. The world is my oyster. What am I waiting for? You know, I do not need any stamp of approval from anybody as far as my sexuality is concerned.
Powerful, powerful stuff. I have goosebumps right now. Well, Lara Kruger, born Thapelo Lehulere, a DJ from Motsweding FM radio, is a transgender female whose voice has caught the attention of Rustenburg, especially in the small town of Mogwase. Now, her sexuality and her upbringing in a rural township was, you know, that kind of had little to no knowledge and understanding of who or what she was has been incredibly difficult. But through pain and suffering, as we heard now, she's grown to be a strong, confident and shameless woman. And of course, she joins us on Expresso today to share more about her journey and identity, and of course sharing all of that and the bravery that goes with it.
Yeah.
So Lara Kruger, welcome to Expresso Morning
Thank
Show,
you so
girl.
much.
So good to have you
Cape
here.
Town. Do you know, come from like the bushes.
Hello, welcome.
But we are like in Cape Town.
Are you having a good time?
I'm having a good time. I deserve this life.
No,
Hey,
you do.
Clean streets.
I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Can I just say that story had me like literally just, I could not take my eyes off of your face and the words that were on that screen. Let's first start off with the context. You were born Thapelo.
Yes.
Where did the name Lara come from, and how does that affect your identity or create your identity?
Well, as you go through the process of self-discovery,
Yeah.
I've had so many names because I felt that that wasn't me totally.
Okay.
That's what my parents thought
Yeah.
I would be. You know, like a beautiful name means prayer. You know, nothing against it. But through the process of self-discovery, I wanted to find myself. And that's where I needed to find someone or a name that I could identify to, for me to make sense to me.
Yeah.
So that's where we picked out Lara, and I thought, no, I haven't heard people around the streets walking and saying Lara, Lara.
Really?
So every time I'm around and somebody's saying Lara, I know exactly they're calling me because Lara Croft is all the way in USA.
And now you're Lara Kruger.
Now I'm Lara Kruger,
I love it.
which Kruger means Kruger, the Krugerite type thing. So I'm born for the money, darling.
I
I'm
love
born for
it.
the good
I
life.
love it.
So
Bling,
that is
bling.
how it was done. Lara, woman, Kruger, money.
I love
woman
it.
and money. Big marriage.
Beautiful combination. I love that. Okay, but let's talk about it. You mentioned it a little bit in your the story that you were telling now. How did your family and your community kind of process this transformation of yours?
Well, I think I was more concerned about my mother more than anybody else because she is a single parent. So my worry was her. And I think the reason why my name is Thapelo, it's because I've got two older sisters and the prayer was based on, let me have a son, let me have a son.
Yeah.
Little did she know that it was going to change completely. What was the question?
How did your family and your community react to your
Mom was very supportive. I think it hurts you as a parent when you hear it the first time. You know, it distracts you, it puts you in an awkward place and whatnot. The community was one of those people, church was church. I'm a vocal child, so I always would say, don't call me names, don't put me off, don't, you know. I've always stood my ground in terms of that, but I come from a loving community, I come from a loving family, but in terms of how they had to deal with that emotion, I guess it was their business more than mine.
Now, in terms of South Africa at large, where do you think we stand with regards to how we react and how we process transgender people in our country?
Well, sadly, there's still a lot of LGBTI killings that are being reported around, you know. It's sad. It's sad where we are. We do know that we are from a democratic country. We've got rights. We've got all that shebang, but it doesn't feel like that. I mean, like, my driver's license says male on there, and every time you get stopped, the traffic officer would say, there's a problem with your license. It's written male, go sort it out. That helps me to not get a ticket, but, you know, the processes and, you know, the situations, it's so unnecessary to say, for people to say, we've accepted you guys, in actual fact, when they haven't. Yeah. So they actually preaching a wrong story. We're still very far. The issues are not dealt with in realness. The issues are not being addressed correctly because people in our space are not communicating with the relevant people, I think, or the relevant people are not listening to the LGBTI community.
Recently, I think Donald Trump shocked the world when he banned transgender people from the military in the US. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you think it affects a place like South Africa, who was still kind of moving in a direction of trying to be accepting of this?
First of all, the USA is like the mother of the world, and everybody looks at it as that. So for a leader from that country to go out and be saying all these things is absolutely appalling. You know, he's sending the wrong message to people that have no knowledge completely. He's even confusing the people that have knowledge and whatnot. And I also think that people must just stop, you know, stop preaching hate, stop sending the wrong message, stop attacking us. It's an attack to people that have accepted themselves, to people that have battled with themselves.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Well, I love, Lara, that you were saying a bit earlier on that you will no longer allow people to tell you who and what you are.
Yeah.
You are who you are. You have embraced yourself. And I love that. I think that we as South Africans need to just love one another, embrace one another. And that's how we move forward as a nation, hey? Absolutely. So Lara Kruger on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, inspiring stuff. Love her.